Hi everyone! We are going to review how to write the equation of a line if I give you a point and a slope, or if I give you 2 points. So, in order to write the equation of a line, you have to put your equation into point-slope form first. You have to use this because I'm not giving you the y-intercept anymore. So, we all know that m is still our slope. You should recognize x1 and y1 as being parts of our points. So this is the x coordinate of a point, and your y1 is the y coordinate of a point. And you know your equation always has to have a y equals in it, and a y equals mx plus b. So this y and this x are always going to stay y and x. Okay. So your slope-intercept form, you always want your final answer to look like that. Your slope formula is down here. You have to use this if you have 2 points. Because if I give you 2 points, you have to find the slope first. And then you know you could have positive lines or negative lines, but you also have vertical and horizontal. And so we already learned that a vertical line, the slope is undefined, right? A vertical line, I can't walk up that wall, and it goes through the x-axis. So this equation is x equals whatever number it goes through. A horizontal line, your slope is 0. If I can just walk across the floor, it goes through the y-axis. So its equation is y equals whatever number it goes through. And a really easy way to remember these special cases is if you use this acronym VUXHOI. Stands for vertical, undefined, x, VUX, horizontal, 0, y. For your equation. So if you remember that, you should remember your vertical and horizontal lines. So if you open up your foldable, you should be on this first problem that says passing through the point 4, -7 with a slope of -3. You need to find the equation of that line.
So we first want to identify what x1 and y1 are. So here we have our point. So 4 is x1, -7 is y1. So now we have all our parts. We have y1, m, our slope, and x1. So we can begin by plugging in our numbers. So we'd have y minus y1, which was the -7, equals m, our slope of -3. Parentheses x, remember that's going to stay the same, minus x1, which is 4. So then if you realize we have minus a negative, and we know that that means addition. So y plus 7 equals -3, parentheses, x minus 4, parentheses. So the next thing you're all thinking is, oh, I have parentheses, so I need to distribute. So I go and I'd say -3 times x gives me -3x. -3 times -4 is a positive 12. I can bring down y plus 7 because I did not use it. I'm going to rewrite this over here. I kind of ran out of room. So next thing we need to do is get y by itself. So that means I need to move this 7. So to do that, I'm going to do the opposite of addition and subtract by 7. So I know, well, I can't subtract 7 from 3x because my 7 does not have an x. So I'm going to subtract it from the end, from the 12. So I have y equals -3x plus 5. So then, if you look, we have our y by itself, and it is in y equals mx plus b form. So this would be our final answer.
Okay, so if we look at the next problem, following what Miss Hannah did, we're going to do the exact same thing. I'm given a point and a slope, so I know when I have a point and a slope, I have to do point-slope form. So if I label my points x1, y1, and I have my slope of 3 over 5, which is my m, if I plug that in, I have y minus y1, which is 2, equals my m, slope, 3 over 5, parentheses, x minus negative 5. So we know, we got to check, do I have any negatives, any signs that needs to change? I sure do. So I'm going to rewrite this to say y minus 2 equals 3 over 5, x plus 5. So the next thing, because I know I have to get this in the slope-intercept form, is that I have to distribute 3 over 5. When I do that, I'm going to bring this up here, I have y minus 2 equals 3/5 x. Now when I take 3/5 and I have to times it by 5, you can cancel the 5s or you can multiply straight across. So if I multiply straight across, 3 times 5 is 15, over 5 is 3. So I have plus 3 at the end. So my final step then is I know I have to get y by itself, and in order to do that, I have to add 2 to both sides. And I can't add it to the x because that's an apple and this is an orange. So I get y equals 3/5 x plus 5. That's in slope-intercept form. I have a slope of 3/5 and I have a y-intercept of 5. That's my final answer.
So if you look here at problem C, we have 2 points. So what we're going to have to do is go back and use this slope formula. So we're going to begin by labeling our points so we can fill it into our yum yum table. That's supposed to be a y. So I labeled my points x1, y1, and then x2, y2. And now I'm going to begin with plugging in y2. So 8 minus y1 over 5 minus 3. So then I'm going to go across 8 minus 2 to get 6, and 5 minus 3 to get 2. So then if we divide those, that makes 3, and that would be our slope. So now we have a point and our slope. So we can go and plug this into our formula. So we have y minus a y1 of 2, because that's back in my point, equals our slope of 3 that we just found, x minus x1, which was 3. So then we're going to follow the same steps as we have before to get this into y equals mx plus b. So we are going to distribute to start. So 3 times x gives us 3x, and 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. And we have y minus 2 that we can bring down. To get this y by itself, we need to move the 2. So we're going to do that by doing the opposite and add. And again, we can't put it with a 3x because those are not like terms. So I'm going to add it with the 9, the negative 9. So y equals 3x minus 7. So we have a slope of 3 and a y-intercept of negative 7. And that would be our final answer.
So if we go up to the other side of our foldable, We're going to clear out the left side so it doesn't look all confusing. So we're on problem D now, and you have 2 points. Anytime you have 2 points, the first thing you should do is find the slope. So if you label them x1, y1, x2, y2, you should be using your yum yum table, and you know the yummy food goes on top, so you have y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I should get a slope of 1 over negative 6. Now you know point slope formula has a y1, an m, and an x1. So you have a slope and you have your x1 and y1 right there. So now we can go plug it in. Y minus y1 is 0 equals m, 1 over negative 6, x minus x1, which is 3. So you should notice on this one, I don't have, like here and here, I don't have any signs that have to change. I don't have to do any addition. So we are good to go, and we can just distribute. So you should have y minus 0 equals negative 1, 6x. And if you take 1 over negative 6 and you times it by negative 3, remember when you multiply fractions, you can go straight across. So you have negative 3 over negative 6, which becomes positive 1/2. So you have a plus 1/2 at the end. So we need to get y by itself. If I add 0, I would have to add it to 1/2, and 1/2 plus 0 is still 1/2. So our final answer is y equals negative 1/6x plus 1/2. So when you're doing point slope form, if I give you a point and a slope, you just take the information and plug it right into the formula. If I give you 2 points, you have to find the slope first and then plug it into the formula. You're going to do that little bit of extra work. Okay? So now let's look at those special cases.
We're first going to take a look at a vertical line. So if I were to draw this little quick sketch, and I look at, well, we know vertical lines go through the x-axis, just like this. So we know that our equation has to be x equals, because it's going through the x-axis. So then I just need to take a look at, well, in my point, what is my x value? Well, that would be the 4, because the 4 is in the x spot. And so our equation is x equals 4, and we know that has an undefined slope. So that's all we need to write.
Remember our Vux toy? It says the line's vertical. We know the slope is undefined, and we should be looking at the x part of our point. So the x part of our point is 4. We should have x equals 4. So using that same acronym, if you look at problem F, now I need a horizontal line that goes through negative 12, 7. So I need a horizontal line here. Horizontals have a 0 slope, and it should look at the y part of the point. So y equals 7 is your equation.
So when we were doing the problems above and we had 2 points, our first step was to find the slope. So we are going to first label our points, x1, y1, x2, y2. And we can plug these into our slope formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So if we take a look, do we have minus a negative, and we know that that is the same as addition. Well, if we do 5 minus 5, that gives us 0, and 3 plus 2 is 5. And if you do 0 divided by 5, you know that's 0. So we have a slope of 0. And like Mrs. Carson said, when we have a slope of, oh no, wrong thing, sorry guys. I meant the highlighter. Here we go. When we have a slope of 0, we know that's a horizontal line, and it has to be y equals. So I can go and say, well, then my equation is y equals, and in the y position, we have 5 on both of our points. So y equals 5.
Okay, so the very last problem, you have 2 points. So you should always double check and make sure your slope is right. So if we did x1, y1, x2, y2, we would have -7 minus 1 over -6 minus -6. So we know that 2 negatives make a positive. -7 minus 1 over -6 plus 6 gives me -8 over 0. We know that that is a problem because we can't divide by 0 on the bottom of our fractions. So we would say our slope is undefined. And if you look, an undefined slope now is a vertical line, and it should always be x equals for the equation. So if I come back here, I should have x equals, well, at all of my points, x equals -6. Hopefully you guys understand point slope form and vertical and horizontal lines. Thanks for watching your video for homework.
And we'll see you in class.